Today we are highlighting the island's #1 income earner, tourism. That's right, we join the rest of the globe in observation of World Tourism Day. But to be honest, every day for us is a tourism day. We provide excellent service and a myriad of activities for visitors who flock to our shores daily. It's in our blood. It's what we do. After all, it's Jamaica, the place of choice to vacate, play, and to do business. We kickstart our program with a word of advice, followed by the news.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, September 27. The Department of Correctional Services, DCS, will be hiring an additional consultant forensic psychiatrist to create and oversee a forensic mental health care program. The program will include the establishment of a ward to house and treat inmates in need of psychiatric care. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Matthew Samuda, made the disclosure Friday as he contributed to the State of the Nation debate in the Senate. The ward to be completed in this government's term in office will address the 262 inmates who have been diagnosed with mental disorders, of which 138 have been deemed unfit to plea.
I can assure members of the Senate, and indeed the public, that DCS is following its legal and moral obligations to provide reports to the courts while taking steps to seek the release of mentally ill where deemed appropriate. However, Mr. President, we continue to work to improve the care within the system with the resources we have.
Plans for the forensic ward are being coordinated in partnership with the Ministries of National Security, Health and Wellness, and local government. In the meantime, Minister Samuda says the Department of Correctional Services has cracked down on illegal contraband entering its facilities. As a result, 2,300 cell phones were seized in prisons over the last year. Minister Samuda says steps are also being taken to amend current legislation which will criminalize the possession, use, and smuggling of electronic devices, particularly cell phones, into correctional facilities.
If we do not get the phones out, we cannot curtail and stop the running of gangs behind our facilities. The first phase of the amendment is intended to provide stronger legislative support to the security arrangements and controls within correctional centers, while facilitating tighter control of prohibited articles being transported in and out of our centers.
In June this year, Cabinet approved the drafting instructions for legislative amendments to sections of the Corrections Act and the Adult Institutions Rules to address the issue of prohibited items in correctional institutions. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government is carefully considering ways to deal with COVID-19 misinformation on the island. According to the Prime Minister, there's an avalanche of false information about COVID-19 vaccines that has been causing challenges to the government's work to curtail the transmission of the virus.
In these times of uncertainty and great fatigue and confusion and negative outlooks, that we must go out there and reason with the population. We stopped on several corners and I met some persons who, some of them had genuine objections and others were very eager to find out where to come and take the vaccines. I spent in one location close to 1 hour having a reasoning, and I believe it was a productive reasoning. And we went into great details about vaccination and the impact of the lockdowns. And I believe that we have made an impact, and I'm hopeful that we will see some movements in that area towards vaccination.
The Bank of Jamaica's digitization program has been approved by Cabinet. Dubbed the Electronic Document Record Management System Project, the initiative is part of a 5-year public sector investment program. The project is expected to bolster the bank's information and data governance program and aligns with the digitization of services across the public sector.
Currently, the Information and Data Governance Program of the Bank of Jamaica included record-keeping policies and practices that satisfy legal, regulatory, and business requirements. However, there remained unaddressed opportunities for the effective and efficient management of all records, with a centralized framework, improvements in business processes, and the control and reduction in costs associated with continued maintenance of all paper-based records.
Information Minister Favour Williams made the disclosure at a recent post-cabinet press briefing. And finally, a slew of activities are planned to celebrate Tourism Awareness Week from September 26 to October 2. The initiatives are in line with the September 27 global celebration of World Tourism Day being observed under the theme Tourism for Inclusive Growth.
The activities that we're planning will include daily advertorials highlighting initiatives of the Ministry of Tourism and its public bodies that foster inclusive growth, a church service, a virtual expo, a virtual concert, and a youth digital photo competition.
Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. Minister Bartlett says Tourism Awareness Week highlights the sector's ability to drive inclusive development while generating opportunities for many millions across the globe. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
We now join the minister leading Jamaica's charge to secure even greater opportunities from our tourism product.
Tourism is playing a pivotal role in Jamaica's post-pandemic recovery, and for good reasons. There's no better industry to drive the inclusive, shrewd, and sustainable economic growth needed to move Jamaica forward. There's no better industry, in fact, to increase revenue, restore jobs, and generate new opportunities in communities across Jamaica. I'm particularly pleased, therefore, to be joining the United Nations World Tourism Organization, the UNWTO, and the global community in underscoring the significance of World Tourism Day, which will be observed on September 27th under the theme Tourism for Inclusive Growth. It is a celebration of tourism's ability to drive inclusive development while generating opportunities for many millions across the globe. According to the UNWTO, this is an opportunity to look beyond tourism statistics and acknowledge that behind every number there's a person, to celebrate tourism's unique ability to ensure that nobody is left behind as the world begins to open up again and look to the future. This year's World Tourism Day theme will also guide Jamaica's activities for Tourism Awareness Week, which runs from September 26 through October 2, as we raise awareness of tourism's significant contribution to the island's wide-scale growth and development. These include daily advertorials highlighting initiatives of the Ministry of Tourism and its public bodies that foster inclusive growth, a church service, a virtual expo, a virtual concert, and a youth digital photo competition. Tourism is one of the world's largest and fastest growing industries, and it is a major source of income for many countries. In Jamaica, tourism is our bread and butter. Tourism is the engine of our economy. It creates jobs, attracts foreign investment, drives the development of critical infrastructure, and promotes trade across multiple sectors. More importantly, it promotes inclusive economic growth and social mobility. To truly appreciate the importance of tourism to Jamaica's wider post-pandemic economic recovery, let's look at some numbers. Pre-pandemic, 2019 was a record-breaking year for Jamaica's tourism sector in terms of arrivals and earnings. We welcomed 4.2 million visitors. The sector earned $3.7 billion, contributed 9.8% to the nation's gross domestic product, the GDP, and accounted for 170,000 direct jobs, while indirectly impacting another 100,000. Our mission has always been to create a tourism product where the vast benefits are distributed fairly across society. Tourism is as much about the farmer, craft vendor, the entertainer, and the transportation provider as it is about the hotelier, the restaurateur, and the attractions operator. The silver lining is the COVID-19 crisis has provided the opportunity for us to reimagine and rebuild this resilient industry to better achieve this mandate. Sustainability and inclusivity are integral to the recovery process. Therefore, as we seize the opportunities in this crisis, we are implementing strategic measures to rebuild a product that is safe, equitable, and generates economic opportunities for average Jamaicans. The framework for reimagining Jamaica's tourism is being guided by the Ministry of Tourism's Blue Ocean Strategy, which will allow us to meet our growth targets of 5 million visitors, $5 billion in earnings, and 5,000 new rooms by 2025. It will require a shift in mindset as we seek to uncover hidden opportunities in the tourism industry in these times of economic uncertainty. Instead of focusing on head-to-head competition and gaining market share, we will innovate to capture new demand and to make competition peripheral by introducing a differentiated and diverse product with superior features. This will necessitate further training to build the capacity of our people, renewing our focus on destination assurance, leveraging our culture and heritage to tell the authentic Jamaican story, making music a more predominant and inclusive part of the visitor experience, and creating programs to get visitors out of the hotels to experience authentic Jamaica. Also, we will strengthen the system for tourism zoning and theming, so the unique characteristics of each of Jamaica's destination areas will be preserved and enhanced to support their own distinctive brand appeal. In this way, tourism will be a key driver of a robust and agile economy that benefits every Jamaican. Thank you, and God bless you.
Island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Hear of Jamaica's plan to reposition the tourism sector despite the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic.
Unprecedented times call for unprecedented moves. With a $1.5 billion loss to the tourism industry, government has adopted an age-old business strategy to engineer a rebound of Jamaica's #1 foreign exchange earner.
The strategic framework for resetting Jamaica's tourism will be guided by the Blue Ocean Strategy, which will allow us to meet our growth targets of 5 million visitors, earning $5 billion, and to provide 5,000 new rooms by 2025.
Economists have for years touted the benefits of the Blue Ocean Strategy. This business model is about creating and capturing new demand in non-existent areas. It is establishing new markets to the point of changing the desires of consumer demand. This act can differentiate a player in an industry and eliminate the competition. This is the current strategy of Jamaica's Ministry of Tourism to reclaim and exceed what it has lost during the pandemic.
A Blue Ocean Strategy calls for the creation of business models that depart from the traditional models based on head-to-head competition and gaining market share. Instead, it will see our ministry pursuing enhanced value creation through production differentiation and diversification.
The Tourism Ministry is known for developing innovative responses to crises, which often garner global recognition. The Tourism COVID-19 Resilient Corridor Program, established in the height of the pandemic and allowed for controlled movement within tourism-dependent locations, received commendations from the UNWTO. The moniker Gen Z Traveler, coined by the ministry to describe vacationers whose experiences and expectations have been shaped by the health and safety risks of the pandemic, is being used by international stakeholders. The Tourism Ministry expects that its Blue Ocean Strategy will receive similar accolades and reap tremendous rewards for the island.
It will require a shift in the mindset as we seek to uncover hidden opportunities in the tourism industry amid the COVID-era economic crisis.
The implementation of the Tourism Blue Ocean Strategy consists of a 6-step plan: expanding markets and go-to-market channels, developing new tourism products, expanding tourism community focus, maximizing linkages across all local industries, promoting resilience and sustainability, and providing destination assurance.
This new strategy, the Blue Ocean strategy we're talking about, is focusing now on how to build the capacity of the Jamaica economy to supply the goods and services that the industry needs, and in so doing, reduce the outflow of dollars into other destinations.
Only 40 cents of every tourism dollar is retained in the country, while just 20% of tourism agricultural demand is supplied locally.
The study that we have done so far indicate that agriculture, just for fresh fruits and vegetables alone, has a demand of 67 billion Jamaican dollars. And on the manufacturing side, there is a demand already established for $360 billion.
To plug the gap, the Blue Ocean strategy will focus on expanding the work of the Tourism Linkages Network. Committees and working groups have been formed to work closely with resorts and hoteliers.
In this new Blue Ocean strategy, we are going to change the production and consumption patterns of tourism in favor of a heavier level of retention of the US dollar in the Jamaican space, and in the process, create more jobs. This resetting of the industry is to broaden its scope and activities, to enable a wider breadth of employment opportunities, and also to expand the variety of skill sets that are attendant on tourism activities. It is to make the world and Jamaica understands better how a real tourism economy can in fact be structured, and why is it that tourism remains the most critical restoration action that any economy can embrace.
Thinking of traveling to Jamaica or planning to staycay? Check out this next feature.
Remember that period when air travel wasn't being accommodated and summer was at a standstill? Well, now with vaccines both a reality and a possibility, much of the world seems to be stepping out from its cocoon. By all indications, summer 2021 is signaling a new chapter in pandemic living, even for us here in Jamaica. Some of us are fully vaccinated, and a number of destinations across the world have relaxed travel guidelines. So it does sound like more world traveling will be happening this summer. But as you pack your sunscreen and repellent, don't forget your sanitizer and our 2021 summer travel guidelines.
Safe to say, many travelers will be taking advantage of the summer opportunities that we spent over a year wistfully dreaming of. If your travel destination is right here in Jamaica, here are your guidelines. First, are you fully vaccinated? People are considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after their second dose in a 2-dose series, such as Pfizer or Moderna vaccines, or 2 weeks after a single-dose vaccine, such as Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. But even after vaccination, you may still need to continue taking precaution. Before you travel anywhere, make sure you understand and follow all airline and destination requirements and check the current COVID-19 situation in your destination. Those coming from outside the island, whether you're a citizen or visitor, you are required to have a negative COVID-19 test result received no more than 3 days before travel. You're also still required to complete your travel authorization form on the JAM COVID website at least 2 days before flying. After arriving in Jamaica for fully vaccinated people, your quarantine period remains at 8 days. You will have to self-monitor for COVID-19 symptoms and get tested if you develop any.
For fully vaccinated persons, they now have the option as of July 1 of taking an approved PCR test, and upon presentation of negative results, they can be released from the quarantine order.
And for unvaccinated people, you're required to quarantine for 14 days, even if you test negative. Avoid being around people who are at increased risk for severe illness, whether you get tested or not.
So we are not lifting the quarantine rule of 14 days for persons who are not vaccinated. If you travel to Jamaica and you are not fully vaccinated, you must quarantine for 14 days.
If you're venturing off island, it's most likely going to be via airplane. And we can't disregard that there are still some pandemic pains when it comes to flying. So, if you haven't been on a flight in a while, here are some tips to keep in mind for an easier flying experience this summer. Still mask up. Even if you're fully vaccinated, it doesn't mean you should throw away your mask supply. Some airports provide complimentary masks and hand sanitizer, and many airlines distribute disinfecting wipes upon boarding so passengers can clean their own area, just as an added measure for assurance. Empty seats are getting fewer. If you're flying this summer, you can expect flights to be more crowded and possibly sold out. That's partly because the effort many airlines make to block middle seats between passengers during the early stages of the pandemic have retracted. Some requirements continue. Some restrictions like negative COVID-19 test result are still in place, especially for international travel. A number of airlines are making it easier to get tested with airport testing options for passengers headed to some Caribbean islands and other places. Some airlines will turn away passengers who do not have the appropriate documentation available before boarding. Remember, regulations can change within destinations, so when planning a trip, review what is needed as your travel date approaches.
What to pack? Even as more countries relax mask guidelines, generally speaking, still pack your face mask and shields, and never forget your hand sanitizers. If you're going offshore, learn about the destination's entertainment or cultural attractions accessible to visitors and any rules in place. Here in Jamaica, you'll be allowed to visit places like the theaters, cinemas, and regulated hotels. For those most excited to dip their toes in the sand and soak up the sun, Jamaican beaches, rivers, water parks, attractions, and zoos are opening up, but observe the daily timestamps.
As many parts of the world remain in the pains of the pandemic and Jamaica proceeds with caution this summer, travel can bring a great deal of uncertainty, but paradoxically too, much delight. That's all the time we have here on the station. Keep the lines of communication open. Email us, jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. Join us on all the major social media platforms. Visit our website and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Catch up with us while on the go by downloading our mobile app. We are here for you. On behalf of the entire team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.